When it comes to handgun calibers, few arguments get more heated at the range than the age-old showdown between the 45 ACP and the 9mm. The Federal Bureau of Investigation may have declared the 9mm on par with the 45, but let's be real sometimes. Size genuinely does matter. Back when John Moses Browning was refining what would become the legendary 45 ACP, the primary branch of the American military wasn't infantry, it was cavalry. That meant your average soldier might need to stop not just an enemy combatant, but the horse he was riding. That's why the United States Army demanded a 45 caliber sidearm. During the presidencies of Theodore Roosevelt and William Howard Taft, the newly rising 9mm cartridge from Europe didn't stand a chance of adoption. Fast forward 100 years, and the FBI dropped the 45 in favor of the 9mm, citing advancements in bullet technology. Their reasoning? They couldn't find a statistically significant difference in performance. But today, we're making the case that the tried and true 45 ACP, America's favorite big bore slugger, still reigns supreme when it comes to sheer stopping power. Now, by the calendar, the 9mm actually showed up first. The rimless, tapered 9x19mm parabellum round was designed by Austrian firearms engineer Georg Luger in the year 1901. That was 4 years before Browning introduced his big 45. Like the 45, the 9mm was built around a specific firearm, the Luger pistol. That's why you'll still hear it called the 9mm Luger. The German military picked it up quickly, and it became their standard pistol cartridge all the way through World War II. Over time, it was adopted by NATO and militaries around the globe. Today, it's the go-to choice for everyone from law enforcement officers to civilian carriers, thanks to its versatility, manageable recoil, and magazine capacity. But let's get back to the big boy, the 45 automatic Colt pistol. That cartridge was crafted by Browning alongside his work on what would later become the Colt 1911. Officially introduced in the year 1905, the original 45 ACP was a rimless, straight-walled powerhouse made for semi-automatic pistols, something most folks at the time considered unreliable and underpowered. The Army, after thorough testing, decided it wanted a self-loading handgun with the punch of the 45 Colt revolver cartridge. So Browning enlarged his prototype 41 caliber design, and the result was the Colt Model 1905, chambered in what would become the legendary 45 ACP. That early load featured a 200-grain bullet moving around 900 feet per second. But after more testing and feedback from major ammo makers, the standard was updated to a 230-grain slug running at about 850 feet per second. It packed similar power to the old 45 Schofield, but in a shorter, lighter package with softer recoil. One of the standout features of the 45 ACP is how comfortable it is to shoot out of full-size or even mid-size pistols. Despite its size, it's known for a soft, push-like recoil instead of a snappy kick, easy to handle, even for newer shooters. That story changes a bit when you stuff it into a subcompact frame, where it can start to feel more like a handful. You'll often hear folks say the 45 offers better stopping power than the 9mm. Now, we're not here to rehash endless internet debates about knockdown power, but here's what matters. The 45 ACP sends a wide, heavy bullet downrange at moderate velocity. It carves out large wound channels and tends to transfer more energy into the target instead of zipping clean through like a narrow full metal jacket round might. Sure, a modern 9mm hollow point might expand to the same diameter a 45 starts out with. and maybe even a touch more under perfect conditions. But here's the thing. A 45 never shrinks. It starts at 0.451 inches across, and any expansion just widens the gap. Bottom line? The 45 ACP isn't some outdated warhorse. It's a refined, reliable cartridge that still holds its ground, especially when you're prioritizing energy delivery and barrier penetration in real-world self-defense situations. Let's not forget the word potential, because expansion isn't guaranteed. Over the years, I've spoken with a broad range of folks in law enforcement, tactical training, and real-world defensive shooting. And the hard truth? A surprising percentage of pistol rounds fail to expand when they hit real tissue. It's disheartening, but it's a reality we have to work with. So if a hollow point fails to mushroom, you're left with a simple math problem: a 355 thousandths diameter round versus a 451 thousandths diameter slug. That difference can mean a lot when the chips are down. Let me give you a real-world example. There was a shooting not too long ago in Dearborn Heights, right next to Detroit. A homeowner confronted an intruder, and the suspect immediately opened fire. The homeowner returned fire. In just a few seconds, everyone in the room, including a girlfriend who had been asleep, had been struck. The homeowner and his girlfriend were treated at the hospital. The intruder, on the other hand, took a single hit to the leg from a 45 ACP hardball round, no expansion, just plain jacketed ball ammo, and still ended up losing his leg. That's the raw, blunt trauma of a full-sized round doing its job. In a real defensive encounter, there's often no time for textbook follow-ups or clean double taps. That first shot might be your only shot, and it needs to matter. Both studies and field reports from police and military suggest the 45 ACP is more likely to end a threat with a single shot, especially when hollow points do expand as designed. Speaking from experience, I've seen close quarters hits with a 45 knock targets down faster than anything short of a shotgun. You feel the hit land. You know when the fight has changed. Now, let's be clear. Ballistic gel is a controlled, repeatable test medium, but it's not a human body. It's consistent, and that's why we use it. But people are messy, unpredictable, and full of bone, fat, muscle, and all kinds of variables. Even so, if you want real variety in ammunition performance, the 45 ACP still has a strong catalog. Classic 230 grain round nose hardball, the standard for over 100 years, is known for cycling smoothly and shooting straight. For many shooters, most 1911 style pistols are going to run that ammo more accurately than their own skill level allows. But if you're chasing tighter groups or better terminal effect, loads like Horney's XTP offer both precision and expansion when expansion occurs. If you're looking for a well-proven defensive round, Gold Dot hollow points are also a solid option. They offer you the chance again, potential for expansion, with added benefits when shooting indoors. That brings us to another factor people often overlook: indoor overpenetration. Every handgun bullet will go through multiple layers of drywall, but a hollow point, by design, tends to dump energy faster and travel less far than hardball. That can make a huge difference in a home defense scenario. Planning ahead means thinking about what's behind your threat, not just what's in front of it. Inside a house, choosing a slower, heavier round, like the 45 ACP, may mean more of your home's furniture and walls act as concealment, not cover for the bad guy. But it also means less chance of overpenetrating through multiple rooms and endangering loved ones. Nobody's going to label your kitchen counter as cover or your sofa as concealment. That's something you have to figure out based on the ammo you choose and the layout of your home. And here's something that gets tactical shooters and preparedness folks excited: suppress fire, the 45 ACP is naturally subsonic. No need to special order reduced velocity loads like you do with 9mm. That means you get that smooth, low decibel thump when you shoot suppressed, no sonic crack. In survival situations, stealth missions, or home defense where you're trying to protect your hearing as much as your life, the quiet consistency of suppressed 45 is a serious tactical advantage. Another huge advantage with the 45 ACP is that it operates at significantly lower chamber pressures, around 21,000 pounds per square inch, compared to the 35,000 plus pounds per square inch of the 9mm. That reduced pressure doesn't just make shooting more comfortable, it's easier on your pistol over the long haul. Less stress on your barrel, gentler wear on your frame, especially in all-steel classics like the 1911 or alloy frame sidearms. In a long-term survival situation, or even just heavy range use, the longevity of your firearm matters more than most people realize. Now, Isaac Newton would remind us that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So yes, if you want more mass and more stopping power, it's going to cost you in recoil and capacity. That's just the physics of it. If you want the fight-stopping authority of a 45 caliber projectile, you have to be willing to manage a bit more kick. But here's some perspective. I've seen competitive shooters, many of them women, in USPSA and IPSC, who weigh less than 90 pounds and stand barely over 5 feet tall, shoot the 45 ACP with accuracy and speed like it's nothing. So unless you're more delicate than that, you really don't have an excuse. Let's talk magazine capacity, because that's always the counter-argument. A double-stack 9mm can still stay sleek and carry 15 or 17 rounds with no trouble. But a double-stack 45 ACP is going to be a much larger handgun, thicker in the grip, heavier, fully loaded. That said, there's a reason the single-stack 1911 has been continuously produced for over a century. With 7 or 8 rounds in the mag and 1 in the chamber, you've got plenty for most defensive encounters, and the platform lends itself to lightning fast reloads if you do need more. Now, let's talk dollars. Ammo isn't free, and 45 AP is going to hit your wallet harder than 9mm, no way around it. Why? More lead, more brass, more cost. Basic 9mm 115 grain full metal jacket in non-reloadable steel cases is going for around $200 per 1,000 rounds. Step up to brass-cased reloadable stuff, and you're at about $230 per 1,000. But 45 AP, expect to pay at least $390 for 1,000 reloadable rounds. That's a pretty noticeable gap. So here's the big question. Which one's better, the 9mm or the 45 ACP? My answer might surprise you. Get both, if your budget allows it. Many serious shooters I know keep a 45 ACP at home for defense. It's got the punch, it's reliable, and when you're shooting in close quarters, recoil becomes a non-issue. For daily carry or concealed work though, the 9mm tends to win out. It's lighter, easier to pack, and you get more shots per magazine. Especially when you're out in public, there's a good chance you won't be in a point-blank situation. That's where the 9mm's faster follow-up shots and higher capacity start to shine. But let's wrap this up the right way. When it comes to raw stopping power, barrier penetration, and making a threat sit down and stay down, the 45 ACP still delivers like few others. It's not just a caliber, it's a legacy, trusted by warriors, cops, and prepared citizens for over 100 years. The 9mm is fast, nimble, and modern, but the 45 ACP brings weight, authority, and history to the table. Thanks for sticking with us. If you still believe that power matters in a world full of compromises, then maybe, just maybe, the 45 ASAP is the round that speaks your language. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more hard-hitting content from Gunman Ballistic. Stay sharp, stay ready, and we'll catch you in the next one.